I'm older, I'm wiser, and reading less. Anyways, how y'all doing? I'm Taylor. This is the Cranky Comic Book Review Show. It is Tuesday, September 26th, 2023 when I'm recording this. I just had a birthday. I'm very old. And we'll get into that in a second because it weirdly ties into the future of what I'll be reading. But the first couple bookkeeping things, I'm not going to go into as great a detail this time because you've been watching my shit all along, right? Anyways, there's a couple links down below. There's Comics Curing Cancer, and there's the CBC Awards. They're both important. One is more important than the others. The Comics Curing Cancer charity event happening in October. Go check out that link, find out more details, donate comics, or show up to everything that's happening on that weekend and buy some books, and your money will go towards a good cause. CBC Awards, people are nominated for some awards. Go vote for them and show your support. Or don't. It is what it is. All right. Now, the other thing. So I had a birthday, and a couple of good friends on the YouTube community bought me the DC Universe Unlimited app for a year. And what that means is I now have access to a lot of DC comic books a month after they come out. And because of that, digitally, I have access digitally. And because of that, I will be buying a lot less DC books. And that means I'll be reviewing a lot less DC books the day they come out. And what I want to know is, from you, the loyal viewers, is if I should review the books a month late and do them as part of this show. Should I review them in arcs or like story segments and have them on their own separate show? Or should I just read and never ever tell you about it? Let me know in the comments down below what you think I should do. I'm not going to be buying as many physical copies, and that's kind of a direction I've been leaning for a while. Anyways, I don't need to own every single issue of every single comic that comes out, especially of shit I don't tend to like, or like is kind of fluffy and I read and then it's forgettable and then I'm done with it. And so I'm not saying that's the case with every book ever, and there will be some I continue to buy, and you'll see today I bought some DC books. But what do you think? What do you want from me? Let me know. Give me your opinions. I might not listen. I'm cranky. I'm old. But I want to know. So leave me comments. And we'll figure it out. Also, I just hit 1,000 followers. Well, I did a while ago. And in the middle of my 1,000 follower giveaway. That link will also be down below for the video. Actually, no, it won't. It won't. It'll be somewhere here. If I can remember, I'll put it in the video. If I remember one of these corners, go watch that video. Find out how to win some comics. And thank you for following. If you're not following, follow, subscribe, do all the things. Hit the thumbs up, hit all that crap. It all matters. For the algorithms, people. But yeah, you can find out how to win some comics. And watch the video for details. I'm not going to tell you more here. Go watch that vid. But now we're going to get into it. Worst to best, like always. And we're starting, oh boy, DC books. And so I bought a couple number one issues because I'm like, well, I'll try them out and maybe they'll be great. And maybe I'll keep up. I doubt it. I don't think I'll be... This first one I definitely won't be reading even a month later. I just didn't care for this. And that was The Flash, numero uno, number one, The Dawn of DC, The Flash. This is written by Cy Spurrier, who is hit or miss for me, and art by Mike Deodato Jr. And I don't know if he's doing the coloring on this as well, but like... who the hell knows? I can't be bothered to like figure this shit out on this one. The story was pretty dull and uninteresting. Something's wrong with the Speed Force. Like, that's never been a goddamn thing before. And while I can't figure it out, like, that's never been a goddamn thing before. And Gorilla Grodd's involved. Like, that's never been a goddamn thing before. All of it just feels like a retread. And I don't even read a lot of Flash because I don't think the character's that interesting. I really don't. And this did not sell me on it. And then you get the Mike Deodato's art, who I like generally, but this just doesn't fit with the Flash, especially with this weird dark coloring. All these spacey, broken up Deodato-ish panels, and then just dark. Like, the Flash should be a fun, light, and airy book, even when the subject matter's not. It's just kind of the nature of the beast. You want like that sort of Silver Age feel to it, where everything's kind of bright and open, and instead you get weird, chunked off, broken, lots of dialogue-y nonsense and science-y mumbo-jumbo, which is okay, but like just fucking boring. This comic did the thing of just making a superhero eventually feel dull, and that is not good. And you get combined with like things that are supposed to be the big exciting moments of the story are shrunken into little panels and other things. It's like this is a bizarre number one and not a good number one, and it did not do it for me. And I do not care, and I will not be reading this digitally because I just don't give a flying rat's ass. Next, we have the other DC book about this week, Power Girl number one. Take some of the art things I said about the Flash and apply it here. It's just the art just doesn't seem to fit. And I'm not saying DC has a house style, but they kind of do. This is a little better. Like there are moments here that feel DC-ish, and the coloring's brighter, but the action is just kind of boring. And it's just written by Williams. Jesus Christ, put the shit on the goddamn front. Okay, Leo Williams, pencil by Eduardo Pensica, and ink by Julio Ferreira. Coloring by Romulo Ferraro Jr. I'm butchering that. I'm sorry. This is like a rebooting of Power Girl with a new alias and a new background story and a new life. And then, yeah, a new cast of supporting characters, a new villain, a new threat to the planet. But it's still just dull. I mean, it's just not exciting and not fun. And like you want things to be exciting and fun if you're reading this kind of fluffy nonsense. And I might give this one more issue digitally because it had a slight amount of more promise. I know words are hard. I'm butchering it today. This one is a little bit better than the Flash, is what I'm trying to say. Not by leaps and bounds, but if I'm reading it digitally and I don't have to spend $4 on it and I can just like throw it on the digital pile, so to speak, I'll probably give this one another go, and we'll see. I did not pick up Detective Comics because that is one I've decided to read digitally. I like Ram V, but I want to kind of like start from the beginning of his arc, which I did not pick up. And so I'm going to start back with Detective Comics and go from there, and then I'll read and figure out how I'm going to review it. I did read Human Target. We can talk about that some other time. It's Tom King, but I didn't hate it. Anyways, next. Immortal Thor, number 2, Al Ewing, and I think already a fill-in artist. Maybe not, but it feels like it. The art just seems different than the last issue. And where the hell did... Jesus Christ, just put the art in the goddamn beginning. Okay, different artist. Where the fuck is this thing? Okay. Martin Coccolo. I'm Martin Coccolo. I think this might actually be the same artist as the first thing. This is an okay Thor book. And it is just kind of okay. It's... Thor now has the power of the All-Father and Odin, and then he gets tired. This book made me want to take a nap, and it's not god-awful. It's just not fantastic. It is a middle-of-the-road superhero book, and like Al Ewing is kind of that for me generally anyways. Like, I'm not hardcore in love with him as a lot of the other people are. A lot of the stuff he's written that I've read. Now, granted, I've not read a lot of his Immortal Hulk because that's not a chunk of crap I want to get into. But like the stuff I've read from him has been just kind of, all right. And that's this. It's like, all right. The art is okay. You get some weird new visuals that I think Alex Ross is to blame that are supposed to be like Thor's new big power set that don't really translate all that well or that clearly or make a lot of sense, like lighting wise or visually. But like, I mean, there's moments in here that are fun and like passable. I might give this one more, maybe. We'll see. All right, next, another Marvel book. God, not a great read for the big two, but this is Ultimate Invasion number 4. This is the end of the Ultimate Invasion, and it's Jonathan Hickman and Brian Hitch. I've really enjoyed this miniseries up until now. I like Hickman's weird, convoluted, sciencey stuff, but this issue felt, even for that, just kind of like, all right, you're pulling your crap out of your ass just to try and make something sort of make sense. And I'm like, I get what he's trying to do, but like, it's not a good way to go about it. And like, the setup does not match the payoff. The payoff on this issue is like, okay, it feels just disjointed and kind of like there's a gap in between the stories between each issue. And I sort of understand that he was trying to maybe do some of that storytelling-wise, but it's just not entertaining. And then Brian Hitch's art on this feels like a step down. I mean, there are pages. I mean, they're great splash pages like this. But then you get this weird character design with some of these new variants, and then it feels lazy in a lot of ways. There's like a Doom mask that feels lazy in a lot of these pictures. I don't want to show all this shit because there's a lot of spoilers, but like it's really heavily inked, and it just kind of, well, not really heavily, but just feels overly heavy by Andrew Curry for the story, and in places it doesn't feel like it fits. Like this page especially, like it just doesn't. I don't know. It's just not exciting, and that's another problem with this story. It's supposed to be grand. It's supposed to have the Maker, this big bad, and like he's not really featured in this issue very much. And when he is, you're kind of a little bit like lost as to what the hell's going on. And then like it relies on you knowing some of the Ultimate Universe stuff that Hickman wrote before, and I don't have that knowledge, so I'm a little bit lost. I think you would be too. It's supposed to be the big reset, right? And this is supposed to set up the next Hickman-y thing that Hickman is going to do and be Hickman-y and all that. And it does it. It just doesn't do it all that well. Like, honestly, you could just wave your hand away and be like, that was all a dream. Saint Elsewhere, Saint Elsewhere, Saint Elsewhere. And there is kind of a Saint Elsewhere moment in here, glass bubble. It's all a dream to some extent. And, yeah, it just resets shit. That's all it does. And not in an overly exciting way. All right, next. You know what? I'm switching this around. We're putting DC again. Another one. I forgot about this one. And this one I'm going to finish because I have one issue left after this. This is Unstoppable Doom Patrol number 6. This is Chris Burnham or Culver and Burnham. And Burnham's finally back on the art, which helps. And this is a weird battle between Doom Patrol and somebody else. And Dennis Culver. It just doesn't still feel quite weird enough. This is one of the weirder issues of this, and it's good in that regard. Like Chris Culver feels like 6 issues in, and he's finally starting to get the oddity that you need to have to help tell a real Doom Patrol story. And the art is bright and weird, and it fits this. And I'm glad Burnham's back on the book because it's like there's 2 issues where he wasn't, and it didn't work. And this works better. It's not fantastic. It is not like the greatest Doom Patrol ever. It does set up something where it could be a finale. I have the feeling the finale is going to be rather straightforward, and that's going to be disappointing. And I'm just predicting here. I'm just guessing because like all the signs are pointing to like a fairly conventional ending, and that's not what I want out of Doom Patrol. Doom Patrol is DC's weird as hell team book, and it's supposed to be weird as hell. And it's the oddballs. It's like X-Men on crack by way of an LSD trip, and throw some other drugs in there I've never done. It's that, and you get some fun art, and you get some fun other stuff in here, and it's fine. This will not rank in the upper echelon of Doom Patrol stories, though, by leaps and bounds. All right, next what do we have here? Oh, yeah. Stuff of Nightmares. This is a one-and-done one-shot. Red Murder. Errol Stein, who's the Goosebumps, which I've never read because I'm way too goddamn old for that shit. And Adam Gorham. And this is a send-up of, like, horror comics, horror movies, and comic conventions and comic fandom and schlocky B storytelling, and like it's either a fairly funny and clever setup, or it's just if you read it straightforward as it is, it's pretty bad. But I'm choosing to believe that R.L. Stine is poking a little fun at himself and at the genre, and in that case, this is pretty fun. There's a character named the Red Murder who's murdering people. And then there's a comic creator that's also created Red Murder. And then there's comic conventions and fandom and making fun of some of that and fun of some of the tropes. And then there's the big reveal at the end that's not very shocking and like just kind of like, yep, all right. And then like if you take it as sort of a farcical view of the thing, it's pretty fun. The art is serviceable. There is a framing device in the beginning of it that doesn't work all that well because it's trying to pay homage to the Silver Age stuff with like the Band-Aid dots and stuff, and that's not, and the halftone dots, and that's not really doing it. And then there's another framing device. It's framing and framing. So this is why I think R.L. Stine is just poking fun and having fun. But once you get into the actual story, the art is pretty competent. Not overly nuts. It's effective storytelling, and most of the brutality in this does happen off panel, which, given R.L. Stein's youth oriented main job and stuff, I'm not surprised by. So it's fun. It's not fantastic, but this is not a fantastic week for books. It's just kind of, well, I've got 2 left, and we'll see which ones are number 1 and 2, shall we? All right. We have Black Hammer the End number 2. This is not going to be for everybody. You need the knowledge of Black Hammer in order to have any kind of enjoyment in this. Lemire is not doing new readers favors in this, and so not a good jumping on point. And I get it's called The End. It's the end. I mean, this is not where you want to dive in. And it's Malachi Ward in the art. Malachi Ward's art does not resonate with me as much as Dean Ornstrom's did in the very first volume of Black Hammer. And the very first volume of Black Hammer, I think, is brilliant. And I think it's kind of had its peaks and valleys since then. This has the potential to be one of the more quality runs of it. And it does have some fun, spready moments that still manage to feel kind of indie comic-y. And it's decent. This is a send-up and an homage and love letter to all the Crisis on Infinite Earths and the multiverse books, the everything that you can tell Jeff Lemire read and loved growing up. And this is not mocking them. I think this is just his own take on it with a little bit of a wink and a nod. The art is not always a strong point. Some of it feels pretty pedestrian, and I don't mean that in a necessarily awful way. It's just not crazy, vibrant, or exciting, or detailed, or anything. It's just kind of hard to it's sometimes barely there, and that's Malachi Ward for you. It's not, if you're going to have to either love it or put up with it if you want to read this. And I'm more in the put up with it camp than love it. So, but the story itself, it is sort of tying together all these sort of threads that have that Jeff Lemire's been putting in place with the past couple runs of Black Hammer, especially with the Skulldigger character and Inspector, and all these names that I can barely remember. And then it is kind of looping back to the first series, but there's Colonel Weird. There's all, and if these names mean nothing to you, don't read this. Just go to the library or go get the Black Hammer Volume 1, The Farm. It's the big omnibus. Just do that and then see if you like it. But don't start here. But I'm ranking things as far as how I enjoyed them this week. And so, is it fair to put this one this high? I don't know. If I were reading issue 482 of the X-Men, there's about that much backstory before that too. So it's comics. They're a serial medium. It is what it is. And so instead of pandering to your readers, Lemire's just going plugging forward. And so there you go. Next, and the favorite book of the week, kind of by a lot, because again, not a fantastic week, is Rumpus Room by Marcus Russell, art by Ramon Rosales, and this is Mark Russell. Sorry, this is Mark Russell, and the art reminds me a lot of a thinner line all red, and this is a billionaire with secrets, and someone coming to inspect, find their missing sister, and then there's secrets. It's clever. It's funny. It's a little bit heavy-handed as far as what it's doing. It's placing political sides against each other, the rich against the poor, capitalists against the rest of us, and then or the notion that capitalists are the rich are at the very top, and everyone else is just kind of squabbling for scraps or literal survival at the bottom, and bickering about the useless shit instead of fighting against the system. And that's this book. Without spoiling the plot, that's kind of the message behind it. The plot is, a woman goes to hunt for a missing sister at a billionaire's house. That's as much as, maybe a trillionaire, whatever. As much as I want to get into it, it's dialogue. There's action. It's well paced. It's Hitchcockian in ways. It's got some bit of plushiness and a lot of weirdness that Mark Russell likes to play with, and a lot of satire. If you've read any of his other stuff, you're gonna like this most likely. And it was my favorite book of the week. It's got a nice coated paper stock. It's got a fairly nice thick cover, although that it replaces one because the LCS initially gave the guy just doesn't do any fucking quality checking before he pushed it on the shelves, and it was just beat to hell. And I grabbed it because I was trusting, and then I went to the counter. It doesn't matter. I can bitch about my LCS all day long, but I'm done. So, yeah, there you go. I like this one. I didn't think it was amazing, but nothing this week was. So, there you go. There you have it. Let me know. So enter the $1,000 giveaway. Comic Cure Cancer's coming up. CBC Awards coming up. And do all your civic duty for all of those things. Don't be a dick even if you just had a birthday and you're old and tired. And you're going to read things digitally.